the more money that you have, the harder it is to manage, the more you got to understand certain things, the more systems you got to have in place and all that great good stuff. And let me tell you something, I have made a whole lot of financial mistakes. Just being a young childcare owner, not knowing what's really business, what's profits. Is all over the place and my childcare based businesses. If that is you and you are looking for some tips on how to get organized in that space of financial management in your childcare business, this is going to be the video for you, because I'm going to be talking about all of the things that you can do to get your life in order, get your money in order, and start to generate that cash flow in your childcare business. Let's get into it. Guys, so the first thing that I want to say to all of my childcare owners is, first, be gentle on yourself, okay? Because let me tell you something, the more money that you have, the harder it is to manage, the more you got to understand certain things, the more systems you got to have in place and all that great good stuff. And let me tell you something, I have made a whole lot of financial mistakes. Just being a young childcare owner, not knowing what's really business, what's profits, what's losses, what's expenses, what's bank balances, what's, all these things that go into financial management. So it's okay, be gentle with yourself. I want to give that disclaimer out there, but it is our job to learn and educate our minds in the space of financial management as an entrepreneur. I will say that as well. So we've got to hold ourselves a little bit more accountable to learn and then execute, okay? Alright, so in the space of financial management, the first thing I'm going to say, guys, is we have to create a solid budget. We don't want to hear it, but you got to sit down, you got to take the time and create a solid budget. One of my #1 questions that I always get from a lot of my clients is, well, Ms. Dom, I really don't know what's a budget. I really don't know how I can create a budget. Well, what you can do is, rule #1, look back at what you've been spending. There are some things that are non-negotiable as a childcare entrepreneur, as a business owner, and there are some things that are negotiable. So you know what your non-negotiable expenses are. Those are things that you gotta pay every single month or you won't have a business to operate, period. So with that being said, look at what those expenses have been for your business and then begin to gauge, did you overspend, did you underspend, and create your budget in that space. As you think about creating a budget, you want to make sure you're including your operating expenses, okay? So those are all of your utilities, your rent, your mortgage, your insurances. These are things you need to operate your business. You want to look at those salaries, okay? Your staffing salaries, your hourly wages, okay? All of your unemployment things that you're paying. You want to look at your supplies. These are things that you have to have in those classrooms, your bleaches, all of the stuff, your supplies that you're having. Another thing is you want to have a category though for unexpected costs. And this is where having, and I'll talk about this in another video, but this is where having that funding and having good credit and having options of money. You don't want to be waiting until you actually need funding to then try to get funding. You want to try to get funding and have that cushion because things do happen, right? I'm going to give you guys a great example. I never forget, it was the first day of school 2 years ago, and it was raining in our childcare program and we needed a brand new roof. If any of you guys own buildings, y'all know it's expensive, right? So that's an unexpected cost. Your water tank could break. The light, it happens to us all the time. The light in one of our classrooms can go out. Your microwave can need to get fixed. There are a lot of unexpected costs that we don't allot for. So you want to make sure you have a line item on your budget for that. But creating a solid budget doesn't mean, it's more like a projection budget, okay? Project what you're going to spend. Project that range. Like, okay, I know I spent maybe $7,000 in school supplies last year because I was ordering new toys and new books. Like, we didn't have these things, but I know next year I might not need $7,000 in learning materials because those learning materials are going to last me. Those shelves, those tables are going to last me for the next couple years to come. So this is why I'm saying it's so important to lay out your budget, but look at what your spending habits have been and then create your budget. But it's not just a thing to create the budget. You gotta revisit the budget on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. Shoot, the way that we is in this area, you might need to look at it on a weekly basis, okay? But create that budget, stick to it, and find time to learn your finances so therefore you can adjust the budget as you see fit as the year continues to go on. All right, now we're gonna talk about some smart financial practices of saving and investing for childcare entrepreneurs, okay? So explore different savings and investments with your financial investor, thinking about things to the future. You want to discuss some emergency funds that you definitely want to have for your childcare program. Look at what long-term financial planning is, okay? Because you want to consider and ask yourself, is this something I'm doing right now? Like most people have 3 to 5 year leases. So when this 5-year lease is up, am I done? Okay, when this 3-year lease is up, am I done or am I keep going on? The goal is that when you start a business, right? You always hear people say, oh, start a business and create 7 streams of income from that one concept, okay? So the goal is to start a business. The goal is to organize and create systems in that business so that you can begin to move yourself out of the business while the business is still making money for you. But once you now make that money in your business, what are you doing with it? Okay, how are you investing it? Okay, are you reinvesting it back into the business? Are you purchasing a location? Are you, purchasing more equity into the business as far as like getting more equipment that you now actually own? Like really think about your smart financial practices, but look at what is your goal. Some people start childcare businesses and they're like, I'm only gonna be in this for 7 years because I know I'm almost at retirement. Like some people start childcare business and they're like, no, this is gonna be a generational thing. That's what my mom said when she started the childcare business when I was 3 years old. And here I am, 33, still working in the childcare industry. So you really got to ask yourself, like, where am I going with this? Why am I starting this business? What am I looking to save? And how is this going to help towards the long-term version of myself? All right, guys, my next biggest one is understanding and managing your cash flow, okay? I'm going to tell y'all, I know I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Miss Dom was horrible with cash flow. Like horrible with managing the cash flow. Like sometimes when you be making money, it's just like, oh, I know it's coming. Oh, I know the next check coming next month. Oh, I know the next check coming next month. But we can't have those practices. No, not in 2024. Not with the way this economy is. So you really, really want to make sure that you're understanding and managing your cash flow. What are significant up things that are going on? Like your high seasons, your low seasons. And if you don't know, look at the books. Look at your books. Schedule that finance meeting. Look at your books. Get into your money and figure out, okay, I'm having cash flow, but all the money I'm making in is actually going out. You might have the wrong age group that you're servicing. Your hours may not be feasible. Your services may not be better. You may need to increase your quality. You may need to consider accreditation. Like you really need to look at and see how you're managing your actual cash flow. And it may not be the cash flow that's the challenge. You might literally be robbing Peter to pay Paul because that is a part of the process. But now you realize, okay, I'm getting my cash flow, but I'm only using my cash flow to like get more staff to like actually market. And if I had a line of credit, that I could just use that, which would give me a 45-day and or over a period of time window with a less APR rate, or maybe you're on a promotional rate with a certain credit card. This is why I'm saying you need to make sure that you're looking at your cash flow, because as you look at the cash flow, you're gonna see a big gap, and that gap's gonna say, I need other funding. I need more funding. I need access to more capital, because when I get that access to my capital, then I can do this. When I can do this, then I can do that. It's all a system. It's like a full domino effect. So understand how to manage your cash flow and figure out where the financial gaps are in your business so you can apply for that funding. And it don't gotta be a lot of crazy funding. Like that's the thing. I think people think everything has to be 6 figures, everything gotta be, top tier. No, you may say, look, I just need about a good 20,000. Okay, I just need about a good 15,000. I might don't even need none right now, but let me just go ahead and get it for when I do need it. Then if I want to go expand or I want to do a marketing campaign, I have the capital to do so. All right, guys, my next biggest one is going to be negotiating contracts and vendor relationships. This is a very, very cost-effective strategy. I'm going to say it again. Negotiation, negotiate contracts, negotiate vendor relationships. It is a really cost-effective measure. We think like, and I'm going to be one included, I was one of those people as an entrepreneur, probably until I became a serial entrepreneur, that I really was like, okay, well, can we cut this? Can you give me a better deal? Guess what? I can't do it. I gotta walk away from it, and sometimes they come back. So discuss, you know, what negotiated contracts looks like with certain vendors, suppliers, service providers, ensuring that you have a cost-effective method in place. Because let me tell you something, you could look like, I'm gonna give you an example. I looked and I was like, dag, I'm paying for Zoom, paying for DocuSign, paying for ZipRecruiter, paying for all of these systems. Those systems that I needed a quarter ago, I actually don't need them right now. So let me cut them off. Let me dip down to a free method, right? Or I might gotta up my ante in one area. So we realized, like, hey, I was spending this on marketing for recruitment, but then I need to open that budget for recruitment because we need to make sure we're getting in more staff in the childcare program. So you really, really wanna look at those relationships, especially with vendors, especially vendors that you've had good long-term, healthy paying your balances off relationships. Consider calling them. Like, prime example, let me tell you something. The first person I'm calling at the top of the year is going to be Verizon. Okay, I need to see, is there another phone plan in place? Is there another bundle package in place that maybe, like, I haven't revisited that package or that thing that we're on with these vendors in over a year or two. So look, print out your financial statements, print out your expenses, and say, dad, when's the last time I contacted this vendor? Maybe they have a new program. Maybe they have a sale going on, something. Okay, do your due diligence in negotiating with vendors because it is a very cost-effective strategy. Another one is going to be, obviously, as you are thinking about you know, your financial management, we know that the number one cost, guys, the number one cost for us as childcare providers, or really any business owner, is going to be payroll. We know this to be true. We know that payroll is a number one expense at our top 3 list as an entrepreneur, especially as a childcare provider. So what do you need to do? Maybe you need to contact your payroll provider and say, hey, look, do y'all got any new deals going on? Do y'all got any new sales going on? If you guys are looking for a super amazing base payroll provider, obviously you guys know the ADP Payroll. We have a partnership with them, and they offer plenty and great and tons of sales and discounts in that space. They're there to help you grow your business, right? They're there to help you. Yes, you're paying, you know, for you to grow your business and scale your business, but having a dope payroll provider in place that does all of the things, and let me tell you something, ADP, they do all of the things. And I'm not just saying this just because we're a partner with them, but way before our childcare program partnered, you know, and used, like before Educated Minds partnered with ADP, our regular daycare center used ADP for years. We've used plenty of other payroll provider services, but we love ADP just for the simple fact that it's always been effective. Anytime I call them and say, hey, look, you know, can we reduce this cost? Like, can you re-look at how many staff I got on my list? Can I get a different, you know, account? Their online platform is super, super user-friendly. So I've always loved using ADP payroll service just for the simple fact on how user-friendly it is, how cost-effective it is, and how they do all of the things in one app. Okay, because let me tell you something. I am not the person to be like, oh, let me get this sales tax out of here and this employee tax out of here. No, you need somebody that's gonna get the job done for you and that they know what they're doing. And more importantly, ADP is a reputable payroll service. So if you are looking, obviously, for a new payroll provider as you go into the year of 2024, definitely make sure you click the link in this description down below and check out our partnership and discount that you can get with ADP Payroll, partner with Educated Minds. So definitely make sure you're looking at your payroll services, because that's definitely another way to cut those costs. I remember I was paying for a certain amount of employees that I didn't even have that amount of employees anymore. So this is why it's always good to reflect and look at what's going on in the bank account to see where you can cut costs to then negotiate in that space with different vendors. Last but not least, guys, I just want to definitely say, you know, like, financial management comes with learning over a period of time. Typically, on average, when you just jump into the childcare industry or just jump into entrepreneurship in general, you're just trying to, like, figure out the industry. I know I've been there, you know, like the thought of growing, expansion, understanding money and statements and this and that, like, that wasn't really at my forefront, because it was like, I need to learn the industry. Like, I need to learn the parents. I need to learn the staff. I need to learn the flow. I just need to learn my day-to-day now because it looks totally different. But as you grow your business, financial literacy is so, so important in those key concepts and understanding, you know, what are balance sheets? You know, what are profit statements? What are loss statements? What's gross revenue? What's profit revenue? Like, all of the things. What's taxes? Like, taxes Whew. I ain't gonna get into that in this video right here, but taxes is a whole nother concept you need to understand, right? When I'm filing taxes, my business structure, my tax structure, so many times you will see businesses change their business from an LLC to a S or C Corp. It's for a reason, right? But if you don't know, because you're not educating your mind, like, this is why understanding financial literacy is so important in that space. But give yourself grace to learn, but make sure that you're willing to learn and you're on the bandwagon to learn, because that is going to help you so much more further down the line. Until next time.